everybody. It's Gil and Beth, and we're jazzed that you're here to start of this series that we're just gonna. It's gonna be very humbling for us, but I think we're really learning for all of us in here as we talk about these 7 marriage, monster mistakes that we've made. But here we go. There's a story. It's urban legend that there was this couple, elderly couple, went out to dinner one night, had a great time, and then on their way home, cop pulls them over. Cop comes up, looks at the dude, this elderly man, and he goes, sir, you're doing 50 and a 35. And the old man goes, I just got this car, and I don't know how fast it goes. He just kind of gives all these excuses. And his wife looks over at him and goes, oh, Harry, we've had this car for 20 years. Harry shoots her a look, is that how it happens? So then the cop looks down, he goes, oh, by the way, sir, you don't have a seatbelt on. What's the deal? And he goes, well, when you pulled me over, I just took my seatbelt off just in case, you wanted me to step out of the car. Mm-hmm. His wife, Harriet, looks at him and goes, he's in trouble. Oh, Harry, you never wear a seatbelt. He shoots another look at her. He's just ticked, Cop then goes, by the way, too, I don't know if you knew this or not, but your left, taillight's out. He looks at him, he goes, sir, officer, that just happened yesterday, and just haven't had time to fix it. His wife, Harriet, looks at him and goes, oh, Harry, that light's been out for months. You're just too lazy to go get it fixed. And Harry shoots back at her and he goes, listen, Harriet, you old bag, shut up! And the cop looks in at her and he goes, ma'am, does he always talk to you like that? And she goes, only when he's drunk.
Oh.
This is kind of what we think about sometimes think about marriage. You think about Harriet. She probably needed to know some things about Harry before jumping in there with him, years ago. But they kind of had their thing go. But here's the deal on this, okay? We're gonna have a lot of fun with this marriage piece, and there's gonna be some people backward, but even if you're dating, this will be good. And probably looking back and forth and going, I have some cringeworthy moments here maybe for you. And I just want to throw this out there, okay? This is a no shame and a no blame zone. We're not here to basically, take you apart or throw things out there. Yeah, we're just not, Matter of fact, a buddy of mine was talking to me about this whole thing, and he goes, Gil, most marriage talks and all this kind of thing are usually spoken by a couple that is, he said, we use this term, on top of your game. Man, they're on top of their game, And he looked at me and he goes, the great thing about you and Beth is you're going to get to talk from the bottom of your game. Yeah. And after I tried to see that as a compliment, I thought, he's right on. How many times do you have, people, especially, we're sitting here, I used to be a pastor, and Beth, man, she helps out tons of people all over the world, and we help people in relationships, but we actually help them from down there. Yeah. Like, hey, me too. Me too.
They're not calling for help if they're not down there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
They're not. So we want you to feel that, and we want you to know that. And as we say all the time, too, from here, is that, there's magic in the messes. That's where the magic takes place. I know a lot of people will say to me sometimes, like, Gil, what do you have to say? You've been married before. You obviously are a failure at this thing. And I'll go, God's a redemption addict. I love that about God. He's a redemption addict. And here's the deal. There's no redemption without failure. That's right. And I'm not saying run out there and fail. I don't have to.
Everyone already does.
You're going to do it anyway. You're going to do it anyway. None of us right now could show our entire life's resume and not have some cringeworthy moments. And God knows that. That's right. And that's why, man, God is a redemption addict. He's an absolute redemption addict. There's magic in the messes. So, in Ephesians chapter 5, the Apostle Paul is talking about marriage. And he's talking about kind of how it works, And then he says this at the end of this passage. He goes, and then God, who gave us this great mystery of marriage. And I read that and I go, it sure is. If there's one thing that's a mystery this side of heaven, it's how to do this. it's a great mystery about how, Jesus is the bride of Christ, and he gives himself up for her, and she, loves him back, and it's still a mystery. So when anybody ever stands up and goes, hey, I'm going to give you the 5 steps to a great marriage, you need to say, those steps are broken. Really, I love when people get up and they go, let me tell you about marriage. I go, man, it's a mystery, and it is such a mystery. I think even to us, we talk about it all the time. We live it. We go through it. Yeah, it's a mystery. So this first part here basically is, mine. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. A cocky way. We're going to kind of go back and forth and share some mistakes during this 7-week series. Yeah. But in this one, it's really in the selection process for me. And I do want Beth to jump in all the time. Somebody this week goes, it's so great, Gil, that you finally found someone smarter than you.
Sorry.
Again, where do you all come from? Come on, velvet glove, man, velvet. But in this one, we want Beth to jump in there. And for me, the big deal is in the selection process. And I did 2 things that were massive mistakes in this selection process.
I'll remind everyone what the title of this is. I really like it.
Yeah, well, it's basically how I focused on finding Mrs. Right instead of becoming Mr. Right. That was my focus. It was finding Mrs. Right. I was so focused on that and put all my energy into that, and I forgot that God's heart was for me just to say, I got that part, Gil. You work on you. Mm-hmm. You get to be Mr. Right. You work on that. I got that. God goes, I ain't got that. You don't even need to look at that. You don't need to look at finding Mrs. Right. I got that. It's already in my control. What's in your control is dealing with you. And God went, and I got a whole lot that I want to help you with.
And this whole series is going to be, and I'm kind of kidding when I said this on our little promo video, but the whole series is everything is about you. Okay, so that's what all of this is coming back to. We're not here to, are Gil and Beth going to talk about their exes in a negative way? No way. No way. Okay, what are the screw-ups we individually made within ourselves? That's what we're talking about. So everything is about you. It all boils down to that. Make yourself Ms. Right, then you find Mr. Right. I mean, that's the key.
Yeah, we just have a real problem in the waiting room. And I say we, because me too. Yeah. So in this one, okay, 2 things in this idea of focusing on Mrs. Right instead of becoming Mr. Right. Mm-hmm. I looked at the wrong person when I was in kind of the search mode, the selection process. And then I lost the game of love and trust. And I'm going to explain the game of love and trust. So those 2 things. Take anything home with you. Those are the 2, big deals on this. So here we go. I looked at the wrong person. Andy Stanley says this thing. He goes, are you the person who you're looking for is looking for? Are you the person who you're looking for is looking for? If she bumped into you or he bumped into you, would he go, man, that's who I'm looking for right there. That's who I'm looking for. My 23-year-old Brody, he's my son. He sent me a little meme this week, kind of knows that we're doing this series. And it said this, heal before having children so your children don't have to heal from having you as a parent. Heal before you have kids so they don't have to heal from having you as a parent. And Beth and I read that because I showed it to her, and obviously that's impossible to do that
exactly.
perfectly, okay?
It's very idealistic.
It's hugely idealistic. Yeah. I mean, I was in my 20s when I got married. Right. I mean, I just got off my trike. I don't know. But I loved how it sounded. I loved the fact that he was, in it enough to say, man, that's what I want to do too.
Is work on yourself.
Yeah, I want to, work on you so that, these folks don't have to heal on that. And, I just hadn't healed enough. I hadn't developed enough and healed enough when it came to getting married, I had a lot of issues. I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of these kind of expectations on people that were just, massively huge. I'm a bailer, if something didn't go right, and we call it man on fire. You just throw the bomb over your head, the grenade, and you walk away. There was just a whole list of things that if I had sat there and, talked to you about, you would have gone, man, that is that's really true, and it's really true of a lot of us. When I was getting ready to ask Gil Beth to marry me, I thought I'd do the right thing and ask her dad for her hand in marriage. And so I went to him and I said, "Hey, I really need some feedback from you on this, And, he was just honest with me back. He's like, I see both of you have some issues. Kind of what I see is that you both need to kind of do a lot more growing in this whole thing. And he mapped out some stuff on both sides of the equation. And you might have heard that and went, run! Run, get out, run like the wind, Gil. You've got a dad saying to you, you both aren't ready.
Oh, yeah.
You're not ready. You've got stuff to work on. You're not even close to being healed, and neither is she. And you just put it out there. You say, here's what I heard when he said that. I'm stoked. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited. Because in my end, I was a massive rescuer.
Yeah.
That spoke to me as a challenge. I threw on my Superman cape.
You're going to go fix her.
And I'm going to go fix her, and I'm going to deal with me, and we're going to be fine, and God's going to get the glory, so get out of my way. Let me tell you how that worked.
Face plant.
Yep. And during our whole marriage, we had both sides of parents we're like, we love you guys a lot, and this isn't going to make it. And we tried to warn you.
Yeah.
We tried to warn you. And so, for me, it was just really humbling. And, there's some of you right now that are going, well, I'm not developed. I'm running into things. I've got my own anger, my own codependence, my own rescuer piece. I've got my own depression. I had that going too, just bouts of depression. He listed a ton of them for me and her. He saw it all. And I just want to say what he said to me to you. Hey, it's okay if you're not ready. And if you're in it, and you go, I'd love to hit rewind on this, I'm going to say a couple things, and maybe you want to jump in on that too. Because we get a bunch of people that come to us around. So we actually have friends that come and talk to us too.
We just did a whole retreat about this.
Yeah,
too.
we did.
Yeah.
10 hours of content that's going to be going live in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Our website. And so you're gonna want to get that. But it was like, okay, here we go on this. That when I talk to folks, I'm looking at them going, you have two options. One is get out of there. And I mean that. Like if it's abusive, if you're being hit, if you're being verbally assaulted, if you're in an abusive situation, later, swallow hard, grab your friends, and get out. God does not want you to be in an abusive situation. And please, dear God, don't tell us that, I'm doing this because God wants me to. God does not want anybody to be abused. Anybody. 1 Corinthians 7, very clear. If somebody has the behaviors that put your marriage not only at risk, but they bury the marriage because of it, alcoholism, workaholism, you name it, all those isms, and they don't want to work on it, you're free to go. You're free to go. They've buried the marriage. They've buried the marriage. So when you talk to us, that's what we'll say to you. You need to sit down and figure this out. You either stay in there and go for it, and that means you're both working on your stuff, or you stop being an enabler of that person and get out. But we don't want to hear you complain anymore. Ball's in your court.
Well, and the truth is, that we're all responsible for our own selves. I mean, this happens to me a lot, and I'm a psychologist by training, and I work with a lot of people that are in difficult relationships. And people love to blame the person they're married to. Okay, they're like, well, we went to therapy, or I went to therapy. Usually, it starts out as the woman in the couple going to therapy first. I went to therapy, and I came out, and I realized everything my husband is doing wrong. Okay, that's not helpful. Okay, unfortunately. And I feel like I can talk about this because I'm a psychologist, so I'm not throwing shots at somebody when I haven't been there myself. Okay. Unfortunately, this happens a lot, where women go to therapists and they walk out and they want to blame their husband for everything, and they're not going to do anything. He's the one that needs to change. Yeah. Well, guess what? That's a lie. Blame only brings pain. It never changes anything. What we have to do is look in the mirror. Yeah. And we have to look in the mirror and say, I am willing, I'm desperate enough, I am willing to take action, and I'm willing to look at my part in this. And then we go about the business of healing. And then is that person in it with you or not? Are they willing to do some work as well? Great. And if they're not, great. Yeah. What you recognize is that the only person you can help to heal at all is you. You're never responsible for healing another person. You can be supportive, you can be loving, you can share truth, but it is never, and I mean never, your responsibility to heal somebody else and their pain. You may bring it up and you're holding a good, healthy, loving, sacred space for them, but they have to do the work. So for all of y'all out there, and I used to be one of them too as a savior, it doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to marry this dude, but he really needs to change, but that's okay. He'll change over time. He's not going to change unless he wants to change. Okay. One of the things I said to Gil this morning that I loved from an old spiritual teacher who passed away years ago named Vernon Howard, one of the things he used to say, which I loved, he would say, a shark is a shark is a shark. Why do you expect the shark to be a dolphin?
Or make them one.
You ain't going to turn them into a dolphin, and they aren't going to turn themselves into a dolphin unless they want to. Yeah. You can't fix somebody's want to. So let go of this belief that it's your job to fix somebody that you're interested in, or that it's your job to help somebody change that you're married to, or that you're in a relationship with. It's not going to happen. One of the most awesome things that happens is when you work on yourself, the person that's in a relationship with you notices it. More often than not, they like it and they want to walk along with you and change with you. If they don't because of fear or addiction or other issues they have, they may not. But somebody's got to step out first and take those steps and make movement in the relationship. One of the things Gil always says is God can't steer a parked car. So if two people are sitting in misery in a relationship, there is no movement being made. God can't steer a parked car. Everything you need in life and in relationships is on its way to you. So look up and be willing to look at yourself and look in the mirror and work on you. That's the key to all of this.
Yep. So, you know how people do this? I've gone to conferences and this comes up a lot. They'll say, you need to write down your list of everything you want in a mate.
Yeah.
You write all that down, you pray over it, and God will bring you exactly to that person. I hear this all the time.
Wow.
You know what I never hear?
What about you?
Yeah. How about you write your list for yourself that you'd like to change?
Yeah.
We never hear that.
Yeah.
How about this? Hey, why don't you write down things about your self-worth and esteem? Write your stuff down about your depression, your emotional disorders, your anger. How about writing down about your rescuer piece? How about you go back and understand your family of origin stuff that has just bled all over you and now you're bleeding all over somebody else?
Yeah.
I was thinking this and I was writing this week is I actually unleashed myself, all my anger, all my insecurity, all my depression. I could go on, okay? I unleashed it on a person when I was 27. So for 14 years, after I got divorced, I was single for 14 years, and I gave it everything I had. It was really, really choppy. I'm telling you, the waters were choppy. It was messy. I made a lot of mistakes in there, man. We went 14 years, and then, you know what? Instead of unleashing all those things on somebody, I actually got to give a gift to somebody. So I want to ask you, are you unleashing yourself on somebody right now, or are you a gift to somebody?
That's an awesome question.
Seriously. I'm going to ask you not to write a list of what you want to see in a mate. If you want to do that at some point, go right ahead. And I know someone's going to email us and go, well, that's what I did, and God brought me right to him. You know what I always say? Well, somebody always wins the lottery.
Yeah.
Somebody always wins the lottery. Good job. Way to go. Powerball, baby. For most of us, that's not the case. So sit down and write your list of what you want to become. Mm-hmm. So the person who you're looking for, right, is looking for you. That's what you want to do, okay? Because look, we all send out a ping. We all have sonar right now based on how developed we are as a person. It's like ping, ping, ping. And I was pinging out there, and guess who? So other women had this like sonar that it resonated with. And they usually had just gotten out of a crazy institution.
Do you know why the pinging was the same and they resonated with you and you resonated with them?
Tell me.
Because you're at the same level of emotional development as the people that you attract.
I know, right?
So how's that for making you feel humble?
Man, I know. And I complain all the time. I always get these crazies. Right. I got a bad picker.
Wonder
and
why.
People are looking at me like, wow, sounds like you're right on the level of them. We know you, dude. That's what they're saying to their friends about you. Yeah.
So true. For all of us.
And I want to say this on this. Man, gosh, there's so much to say here. But here we go again. I just have to do part two next week. These mistakes are fun.
Well, your ping doesn't change unless you do your inner work.
And
then you can send out a healthier ping.
Like, beep, beep, beep. I don't know what your ping is, but I hope your ping's a good one. I mean, if you're... Anyway, got a lot to say there. So I just want to say, okay, everybody's sending out a ping based on your emotional development. The people that hear that ping are just at your emotional development, and that's why you get together.
And based on childhood pain, too. You know, that has a lot to do with your ping. Yeah. So if you haven't healed any old pain in your life, you continue to have the same pain. And how many of my girlfriends have said to me, and my clients over the years, I just keep picking the same kind of person. You know, the same kind of person. You break up with one person, another one comes through the door. They're almost exactly the same. They probably look a little bit different, but they're almost exactly the same as the last one. Why? Because you haven't done your own healing work to attract somebody differently than that. And it's as simple as that. So your ping has not changed.
Yep. So there you are.
What else do you have to say
There's
here?
A lot more in there. But we're on a 30-minute deal here. So.
Yes, we have 10 hours of a healing retreat.
Yes.
That will be in our shopping cart within the next 2 weeks.
Yes. And man,
that's even better.
That was a blast. All right. We'll be doing another one at some point soon, too. All right. That was my first thing. I think we pretty much,
That was the first one?
The first, part of the mistake.
Okay.
Right? I was looking at the wrong person.
Okay. Yep. We're good.
I need to, on the cameras on your phones, how you hit that one button and it turns it around? I wasn't doing that. My camera was always on them, and God's like, hit that button up there, dude.
Yeah.
And have it turn back around. Look at you. That's my first mistake. I never found the button.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun when it's looking the other way, Yeah. I know some of you right now are going, if I hit that button, man, I'm going to be freaking out.
Well, everybody likes to blame somebody else.
Yeah, that's all right.
Isn't that what people do?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's easy to do. By the way, we all do it. When Beth talks about this, we did it too.
So you know what? We actually, I'd love to say something right here. We actually kind of have not a rule, but we kind of do this thing in our relationship, both of us, and I think we do really well, is if we're talking about our ex-relationships, we aren't sitting there throwing them under the bus. We really don't do that. I mean, we try really hard to watch that in each other and talk about, what have we learned? What are we trying to do differently in this marriage than we've done in the past? Not, that person was a schmuck or this or that. We try really hard to do that because, again, that's just the blame game, and that only ends in more pain and suffering. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to share that because I think it's a really cool thing to do as a couple if you're in a new relationship. It's not about dragging the past forward and slamming those people from the past. What good is that going to do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Second part of this first mistake. I was looking at the wrong person, and then I lost this game called Love and Trust. I want to explain this game of love and trust, okay? I have a feeling that a lot of us live under this kind of thing. What we'll do is we'll basically say, well, I love God, and then I'm trusting my girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, significant other, whatever it is, right? I love God, and I trust this person I'm with. I just want you to, I'll give you some verses here in a minute. God never, ever tells you to trust other people. Here's what I mean by that, because I'm sure some of you are like, oh my gosh. What I mean by that is as a priority, okay? What God says all the time is, I want you to trust me fully, right? Your ultimate trust is in me. And once you have that down, that I'm number one, then that person's second. But I want to be clear on this, okay? They're not your Savior. Yeah. They're not God. They're going to make a ton of mistakes. Can't tell you how many people will come call me and say, Gil. I go, what? Like, I just caught my husband sleeping around. I can't believe it. And I'll go, believe it. Believe it. I'm surprised when people don't sleep around. You know what we do with people that have been married 50 years and they had a great marriage? You know what we do? We throw them on Oprah. And Oprah goes, he has all these questions for him. My gosh, hey, we're all glued to the set. How'd they do it? We're looking at them like they're aliens. Somebody in our culture lasted 50 years and actually still love each other and they treat each other great? That's the miracle. Jerry Springer never has any issues about having a line of people that want to come on that show. Howard Stern? He can work till he's dead because all the, people his line of people coming in there never ends. When someone has actually done it well, right? That's when we put them on Oprah and we're all glued to our set like they're aliens going, please, man, give me something that helps me here. God wants you to love someone, okay, and trust him. That's how the love and trust works. It's not, oh, I love God so much, and this person's they're number one. I love Beth. She loves me. She's number two, and I'm her number two. And let me tell you, when we mess up, we don't go, whoa! We go, yeah. Yeah. There it is. That's just what's true about it. I always, on my side of this thing, always remember that, we're all fallible. We just are. I love Beth, and she's fantastic. Let me tell you, though, she's fallible. I am too. I had a seminary professor, 80-some years old. He was like one of the greatest theologians of the 20th century. I kid you not. This guy's phenomenal. He's up there teaching us one day. And we're walking through like Romans 7, right? Where, Paul's talking about how, and by this is the Apostle Paul, who he saw Jesus face to face. 25 years later, he's still struggling with this stuff. He goes, everything I know I'm supposed to do, I don't do. Everything I'm not supposed to do, I do. Right? Paul in Romans 7 is giving us this, there's a lot of doo-doo going on there, right? And my professor was going through that, and he's in his 80s, and he's just this giant of a scholar. And he goes, what I thought would leave at some point in my life? And we're like, oh, what? He goes, lust. It's like, I'd like to bang every woman I see.
He did not say that.
In better words than that.
Okay. All right, good.
Pretty much the way a theologian would say it.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in my seat when he's like, man, I'm still struggling with that. And I remember thinking, does it ever go away? And here's the deal, okay? It doesn't. I don't know what you're struggling with, but you're in an earth suit. It's your earth suit. And God says that earth suit, you're going to shed it one day. But I ain't today. So you better be on top of this. Matter of fact, in Genesis, God's talking to all of us where he says, sin is crouching at your door. You would do well to master that. So, I just keep who we really are in mind. Like that's right. This is where God says, look, I've given you a lot of grace. You can give a lot of grace back. Mm-hmm. Because we're fallible. And there's going to be a lot of I'm sorry's in your relationship, and there's going to be a lot of I forgive yous, I hope. We can say that all the way out. And get used to it, because we're in these earth suits. And man, they're tough. They're just tough. So God says, I want you to love me, right? I want you to trust me and love them. Love that person you're with. Trust me. Let's go that direction. And when they mess up, it's grace. And I would say, please, all of you, us too, stay at it. Stay in your relationship, especially if they're saying, I'm working on it. As long as you're saying that, you're in good shape. My thing is I lost that game. of love and trust. So we're supposed to, love people and trust God. So I have to reset my heart every day on this because I want to trust, I want to have somebody that's got skin on that I can trust like that. And God's saying, oh, that's me. You keep trusting me on that. Keep loving on Beth, giving her grace, and, her with you. Let's go, that's what we're going to do. But trust me, your ultimate trust needs to be with me on that. And it's just super, super important. So I'm going to give you a couple scriptures. You want to write them down? Because I know a lot of you maybe are losing the love and trust game like I did. Micah 7:5-6. God says, put no trust in a neighbor. Have no confidence in a friend. He's not saying be down on him. He's just saying be careful they're not your ultimate trust people, Be careful even what you say to your wife because your sons will hold it against you and your daughters will be mad at their mom. Both parents lose. Daughter-in-laws will be against their mother-in-laws. Momzilla. And your enemies will become members of your whole family. You know what God says? That be really, as long as you're here on the earth, there's going to be people that dog you. Man, he just talks there. He goes, man, listen, neighbors, friends, wives, sons, daughter-in-laws, daughters, mother-in-laws, enemies, your whole family. God just lists them all.
Ouch.
He goes, look, this is the way life's going to be.
I never heard that before.
I
don't like it.
Either. Okay. No, but I'm going to ask, okay? Have you ever had a business partner that took all the money and left? Left you sitting there holding the bag? You ever have a business partner like that stole? Everybody in your life that you trusted that took money, stole? Something like that? Did you ever have that?
Absolutely.
Did you ever marry somebody and after you marry them the next day they change? Ever had kids that you poured everything into them and they just said F you and went sideways? You ever been that person? It's just life. It's life. So God says, make sure your ultimate trust is in me. Because if not, Princess Bride, get
awesome.
Used to disappointment.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Get used to disappointment. And my end, I put all my marbles in a person's basket, as they say. And it wasn't fair to her. It wasn't fair to, anyone involved in that. But I like Disney movies. I love Frozen. Anyway, I do. I love them. And I always used to think, man, that's how it's supposed to end. I love somebody incredibly like that, and then they're right there. But God comes in and goes, I just want to remind you, Psalm 118, verse 8, it's better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust other people. It's a better deal. It's just a better deal. That way you're playing the love and trust game well. You're having great relationships, but you're trusting God, and so God's got that going with you. Jeremiah 17:12.
And you're not expecting someone else to be everything for you. Yeah. And isn't that the bottom line? Because that's what we do.
Yeah, I was just thinking, being a rescuer.
Yeah.
I think the hard part about that for me is that's an ego shot, right?
Absolutely.
I want people to look at me and go,
yeah,
whoa.
He was my savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superman showed up.
Yeah.
So really a lot of this is an ego game too. So be careful there. Jeremiah 17:12, here's what God says. Cursed is a person who trusts in others and makes other people their strength, whose heart turns from trusting God to trusting others. That person will be parched in the desert, and they'll live in misery. You got to play this game well, folks. Friends, don't miss this. You kind of dilly-dally with God and then put all your trust in somebody else. Life's going to suck. And maybe right now you're like, but I'm winning right now. Yeah, right now. Life's long. No one is good enough to take all your ultimate trust. No one. Serious. When people talk to me about, oh, Gil, man, look at all you did in my life. I'll go,
Don't give me too much credit.
Kick me off a pedestal.
Yeah.
I do not want that.
Yeah.
It's a really dangerous place to be.
Well, you're in the pedestal one day and in the basement cellar the next day. Yeah.
Beth met with her doctor. Had her on a phone this week, and Beth has supernatural energy. Matter of fact, I'll close here. I've never seen anything like it. It's also scary, right? Because she goes and goes and goes, and then, no one can do that for very long. And not, high speeds equal a lot of crashes, So she's talking to her doctor about it. And her doctor makes this comment, very interesting. She goes, well, you're in love right now. So you're kind of like the Energizer Buddy because your fuel is being in love. A lot of that's being in love. And then she looked at Beth and she goes, but that'll end soon.
Yeah.
It's been a rough week. Rough week for me. Send some stuffed animals. I'm going to grab my whoopee and go in a corner. Anyway. But her doctor's right on. Her doctor's going right now. It's just all kicks and giggles, unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah.
But hey, we're all human. And there's just this part of me that was like, but there's part of me that goes, you know what? Yeah, but we're striving for a lot better than that. I know that much. We're going for it. So, but I love that. Oh, man. That's why Jesus says, look, put your trust in a rock. And that's why he calls himself that, right? God's a firm foundation. Jesus cares about us enough to say, hey, be really, really careful you don't miss this. Play the love and trust game well.
Well, and I know my doctor really well. I mean, she and I are friends, right? And, I mean, it's true. I can't rely on you to keep me upright. I can't rely on my connection to you to get all of my energy from that so that I'm okay.
Yeah.
And isn't that what you're just saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good, though, because it goes back to, again, you're not responsible for somebody else.
Okay, so here's the final story. Wrap this up. Remember, focusing on, finding Mrs. Right instead of becoming Mr. Right or vice versa, danger.
I love that.
Danger. So look at yourself. And then play the love and trust game really well. Make sure your heart's, and recalibrate your heart, reset it, reboot it every day. You're going to have to. I have to do that. A lot of times I'll find myself going, that thing stung me really bad. I wonder if I put too much of my heart in that person. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just God's reminder to make sure that, you've reset, rebooted your heart and your mind. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to be defensive in your life today.
Yeah.
Well, I got hurt then, so now I got to wall up with this new person. That's not going to work. Yeah.
So Beth and I were talking a while back. And, we met when I was just finishing inpatient at a treatment facility. For some stuff I had, two things that really kicked my butt in this world, marriage and substances. So I work really hard in both of those. But we were talking, and she, I'm blown away, really, to be honest. When I met her, I'm like, okay, that's out of my league, and that's okay. It's not, that's okay. It's like, all right. Well, that's not how the story ended. And Beth said something to me that I want you to remember, because I'll never forget it. She looked at me one day, because I was telling her this. I'm like, golly, how did I get you, Kind of like John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. He says the same thing about her all the time. I don't know what happened here. And I used to always think to myself, I wish I had that story someday. Well, now I do. And Beth looked at me and she said, I'm so glad you didn't get all comfortable in all your cozy little crap and all those areas of your life that you had just given into for so long. I'm so glad you didn't get all cozy in that and wrap it all around you. She goes, I'm really glad you went to work.
Yeah.
Because, she said, I wouldn't have given you a second thought had you not done that. I thought, My ping changed. My ping changed. And her sonar caught it.
Yeah.
How's your ping? How's your ping? I mean, are you okay with that? You don't have to be. And God gives you a way up. Not a way out, a way up. Yeah. He gives it to you, okay? Don't make that mistake like I did. All right. Let me just pray real quick. Lord, just, take your words, every bit of truth that this had, and sear it and tattoo it on all our hearts. Lord, if there's anything that we said or that's off or whatever, Lord, I pray you would just help people forget it. For all of us in on this, for all the people who listen to this week and this weekend, Lord, let your grace and your mercy just shower there. And then, your power to be able to help see us change. And Lord, let us not buy in to this thing that we can't change, because we can. Help us all become Mr. and Ms. Right. Instead of always having to, turn that camera around, hit that button to look at everybody else. Help us turn that toward us in our heart. We love you. Amen. All right, our website's up, gilandbeth.com. Mm-hmm. Woohoo! That's up. On there, you can like us on Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like, seriously, there's only like 20 people on that. Man, let's get that going. Yeah. And just keep coming with us for the ride. Next week, second mistake.
I guess I'll be talking.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna get some sleep this week,
We'll see if how Jonesy handles that next week.
I'll be good. I can't wait to be in that. See, I'm a great Monday morning quarterback. Just call me Peyton Manning. All right.
We love you.
Love you guys.
Thank you.